As I explained, there are lots of incineration plants in the residential area.
This is the one I told you yesterday.
All over Japan.
She was investigated by using the leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Before we start our control of dioxin in 2000, they just burn everything. Even bicycles, they burn.
I was surprised.
But they said
they said no.
No, they don't burn bicycles. They just crush it into
because
metal.
I saw the video. And over the superimposed set, we burn this everything, and including I see the bicycle. And I told them it must be mistaken. No, I have seen in the two factories, same one.
Before that, more than 10 years ago.
Oh.
Bicycles and a
No,
traction track. They put the bicycle in a traction track in Osaka area. Osaka area, they like burning.
They like burning.
Yes.
They like campfire, I think.
Campfiring, yes.
When they were kids,
You look at the city mayor, always on fire. So media like it from foreign countries.
Look at that.
They
then
like him.
have to fire them.
Yes.
This is the Tokorozawa city near Tokyo. This is Tokyo, and this is Saitama Prefecture, Tokorozawa city. Tokorozawa city. And this is a stack of industrial waste incineration plant owned by private sectors. Very low stacks height, 10 meters or something. And around this Tokorozawa area, more than 50 or 60 incineration plant like this is gathered together.
Wow.
Because it's just a neighbor of Tokyo metropolitan, and the industrial waste are going to this neighboring city and burn there, and ashes go to further north. So this is the entrance of metropolitan government
haze.
industries.
Yeah.
So this small stack emit very dirty emission gas, and as you see, these are the vegetable farmland. The children are playing.
They don't cover up the stacks. I mean, like incinerators, chimney. They use the kind of the things to cocoon it
Together.
3 stacks. They use some kind of the cover to cover the stacks.
It's a municipal solid waste, a huge one, but this is industrial waste, small plant, so just the stack is like this. No consolidation of it together. And this is very bad condition. And our institute simulated this multiple impact, area-wide multiple impact of these stacks. And the wind comes from north. This total Tokorozawa area was very polluted. And at that time, the dioxin was coming to the big issue in the areas and all over Japan. If these 50 or 60 incineration plants burnt altogether, the dioxin was also very severely polluted these areas. The human body also and the vegetables also. And this is a pine needle.
Spinach,
Especially the spinach. Spinach is very polluted here.
What year was this done?
2000.
2000. Yeah, 2000.
Yes.
Before establishing dioxin control law, there's no law for regulated dioxins. To monitor the dioxins, the pine needle was used at the time, and this is done by national government. They compare the pine needles in Chichibu, the mountain area, and the Tokorozawa city. Look at these two graphs. Tokorozawa city's dioxin is very high. 2 kinds of dioxin. Chichibu, the mountain area, is very low. This shows the pine needle accumulate the concentration of dioxin very well. The pine needles.
It's in Japan, pine needles, but in Malaysia,
no pine needles.
No.
So we can find that.
Oh.
Some other biomonitors.
Really?
Yeah.
But
Cameron
Yeah,
Highland.
mountain area.
No, because because the Cameron Highland, they say they got because it's the over the hills, very cold the weather.
yeah.
But you can find out another biomonitor to monitor the
yeah,
environment.
But is Panita the most stable plant to monitor the
In
level
Japan.
of in Japan?
In
maybe?
Japan, we have pine needle from north to south, so it is very easy to compare to
Oh,
other areas. So we focused on pine needles. This is very important.
Durian, wow.
Now we have thousands and more incineration plants all over Japan, but our laws regulate only these 5 particular matters, including PM 2.5 or dust and soot. This is 1. Number 2 is sulfur oxides. Number 3 is nitrogen oxide. Number 4, chlorine and hydrogen chloride. And number 5 is dioxin compounds, PCDD, PCDF, and coprana PCBs. No other things is controlled, regulated. No heavy metals included. No
The
VOCs.
reason, because we have been struggling for many years with the mercury low,
Mercury, no control,
Oh.
nothing regulated.
But
So
I
they
think-
don't monitor.
I think because of the law has been taking place, I see that from the 2010 we have so many mercury. Maybe probably some of the industry company have difficulty to reduce the pollution items from the mercury, so they just dump into the
Yes.
in the garbages.
This is ambient air, emission gas control, not ambient air, emission gas regulation. These only 5 parameters, 5 things are controlled. No regulations on mercury, lead, and arsenic, everything, these metals. No VOC, no PAH. In European countries, heavy metals are controlled. Some of the United States or EU countries, PAH.
Something like this is the information they gave us.
Yes.
So regulated are here.
Yes,
All here are not regulated.
not regulated.
So it's not compulsory to provide this
No
information.
compulsory. These things are monitored because they have to maintain good condition of plant, but not for the ambient air. Emission gas. Emission gas control is necessary to control the ambient air conditions. These are their plant maintenance,
For
Purposes.
maintenance purposes.
not for environment. So if we don't burn these waste, there's no risk. Plastic is not risky if you don't burn. But we burn plastics. There are lots of additives in plastics to make soap, or to make hard, or to make not burn. Many kinds of additives are used for plastic products. That's the very dangerous things. So look at this. These are 12 heavy metals: cadmium, thorium, mercury, antimony, arsenic, lead, chromium, cobalt, copper, manganese, nickel, vanadium. These are heavy metals controlled under EU directives.
So I'm sorry that I made this. In Europe, the mercury is totally controlled
Yes.
by the law.
Yes, for emission gas of incineration plant.
For many years already.
Yes.
Oh, I see. And then I talked to the expert yesterday because they never really imagined that mercury involved.
So the citizens, Japanese local citizens, asked Environment Ministry to control these metals for an incineration plant. But they said, no, it's not necessary. Japanese plant is very high advanced technology. You don't need to control metals. But they don't provide any evidences that they don't emit any metals. But we saw that the soils around the incineration plant contaminated heavily.
But to me, it's like, as an expert, that there is no comparison study between Japan and Europe. That means that they think that Japan is the best. Like, it's so obvious that, as you mentioned, many years in Europe they are already degraded.
Yes, yes.
They never really pay attention to it. That's very amazing.
In Europe, some of the residents for the planned area of new incineration plant try to correct the soils before construction of the and check the metals contamination of the soil before that. And after 10 years or 20 years finished, they check again the contamination of soil,
But
the metals.
I think this is different story, but I feel that this is also the matters of the citizen. Like in Europe, like a PCB control in Germany, the citizen raise up and then talk to the government, ask. In Japan, always said we are government saying that is why, but I think it's also responsibility for us to be more skeptical, whatever they say. That is also a problem.
In Europe,
It's
the
not only the
government educate children, from very small children, how dangerous the incineration is.
The opposite here.
So the children know very well how dangerous the incineration. So they separate incineration as this dangerous. So they don't like incineration plant near our house.
But in
So
Japan,
if you
it's
put
in
that-
other
We
way
have
around.
seen all the hands,
Yeah.
Everything is
school,
safe.
drawing,
Beautiful.
We are educated
In the
how
incinerator.
incineration good is.
Yes,
Safe is. You have to
Amount
embrace
is
it.
reduced like this. Ash is very small amount. The ash is very clean, so we can use it to the
Yeah.
bricks and something.
Mm.
Very contradictory education.
I think this is different matter, more like psychological, cultural matters. I think Asian people are not like European and American. We are not critical as well. So that is also the problem if we have this kind of
They
technology.
believe the government statement or
Malaysia
the
not,
information.
but basically they are not. But we are not that critical like foreign. I mean, Westerners.
Europeans.
I think this is also matters of the culture influence of the Japanese
Yes.
also.
Japanese are very easy to believe government information and media information. Media is controlled by government, so the people are.
But not like Malaysia, okay?
Different
No,
sort of
no,
control,
no, no.
different.
Malaysia is not too skeptical as Westerners,
We
But not
have
too
a
educated
freedom.
as
We have a freedom
Japanese.
press,
so where we are.
but we have a freedom press. But especially in terms of the Ministry of
So-
Environment, is the way we have a press club in that building. That is amazing.
Yeah. In 2000, we start to control the dioxins from the emission gas. And we said, the government said that ambient air quality average 0.6 picograms per cubic meter for the ambient air. But this is the only country that
Program.
set this kind as quality standard for dioxins, ambient air. This is very high quality control standard. Because at the time, if we make a lower quality standard, every incineration has to be stopped. This 0.6 was decided politically, but we don't need to stop incineration plant.
But just like I mentioned, actually it's 0.3. 0.3 is acceptable level.
0.03.
0.03. Sorry,
I think Malaysia they set 0.1
Yeah,
picograms.
0.01.
Is it 0.01?
0.0? The even lower?
If I'm not mistaken, 0.01.
Cannot be. Even
I
lower?
have to check, I have to check.
I don't think
I
so.
have to check, I have to check.
Don't mix it. Emission gas is different. This is ambient air. Ambient air quality control.
Ah, okay. This
Emission gas is higher, so this is ambient air. We are entering this air. So this is a political decision to make this kind of high standard. So it is nonsense to compare this standard for the present state.
So politicians are bad.
So this is the dioxin control. Ambient air 0.6 picogram TQ annual average. Soil 1,000 picograms. Or even in the residential area 1,000. But in Germany, residential area is 100, and if the children are playing ground parks, lower than 40 picograms. In Germany, the quality standard is different compared to the land use. It's very reasonable. industrial place, residential area, parks and children's play park must be different. But in Japan, 1,000 is the only standard for soil. Water 1 picogram annual average, but in United States, this is 0.4 or 1 or something, very low. Because water contamination is very serious for fish contamination, directly linked to the fish contamination.
Food chain.
Food chain. So the water quality should be controlled very strictly. United States, the idea like that. But in Japan, it's very high.
In United States, how much?
0.2 or 3, I'm sure. I will provide the data afterwards. I will give the data afterwards. This is the environment. For emission control, they decided emission gas of incineration plant. For example, 0.1 nanogram for emission gas. Picogram, nanogram difference. 1,000 degrees difference. And discharge wastewater from the plant, 10 picograms compared to the drinking water 1 picogram. But discharge wastewater was 10 picogram. Bottom ash 3 nanograms. If exceed 3 nanograms, you cannot dump that ashes to the dumping site. And this is a tolerable daily intake. Food, fish, daily products, milks and vegetables must be 4 picograms per day for intake.
4 picograms.
Yes. These are the regulation we have decided in year 2000. And at that time, the citizens try to know our area, not the national average, but our area they want to know. So we start, what's the best monitoring matrix or the samples that can be used for citizens? And they check the European countries. They monitor ambient air, emission gas, water, soil, sediment, sewage, sludge, food and human intake. They are already using plant tissue for monitoring dioxins. Austria, Germany, Luxembourg still already use these pine needles for monitoring. So we focused on this point. And there are data also. Conifers and pine spruce, these are the pine needle vegetations in Europe. 0.3 to 9.1 is a range that is not contaminated, and maximum is 100 nanograms. This is the same as picogram. So these are the already monitored data, so we can use this for a comparison with Japanese contamination. So we selected pine needles. The reason why we selected pine needles, it's best to monitor the dioxins and easy to understand the citizens. The first we have to done is correlation between pine needle and ambient air. Because we don't eat pine needles, it is necessary to understand ambient air, not pine needles. So we have to find out the correlation between pine needle and ambient air. And at that time, this is a very bad condition incineration plant near a US base. This net inside the US base.
現在アメリカの水はね、飲料水ゼロだね。
Zero.
No detected.
Not detected. Oh, it's very strict.
厳しい。
So this plant was very seriously operated,
Zero.
not contaminated.
Zero.
ゼロが5つぐらいついてる。
Zero.
Yeah, that one.
The emission gas,
Okay, alright.
emission gas,
Okay.
flue gas
Already
from
changed.
this that comes to the US base. And this in the US base, residents, children and mothers and wives are living here in the US base. So they very angry about this stuff. And finally they sued, lawsuit,
This incinerator was
private
built,
sector,
built by who?
private sector
Private
on
sector.
industrial
Industrial.
waste treatment facility, very badly operated. And it is in a lawsuit. National government try to monitor the ambient air continuously, not just once or 2 times a year, continuously monitor the ambient air because US government pushed that to the national government. And our tax paid for this monitoring. And this is me. And these 2 lawyers, Americans and Japanese, together we entered to the national US base and corrected the pine needles here and compared to the pine needle and the continuous ambient air monitoring. And this lawsuit case also asked US Navy asked our company to do the simulation. This is the center of this is a stack. The pollution gas simulated like this is dispersed like this. All of these areas is very polluted. And this simulation data was also used. And finally we find out the ambient air and pine needles and these correlations. This data was submitted to the International Conference of Dioxin. Afterwards, this is the result. If we find 5 picograms in pine needle, the ambient air was 0.5. This is a correlation of pine needle and ambient air. That's why we start monitoring pine needle. If we don't understand or find out this correlation, it is not interesting for citizens because we don't eat pine needles. Oh, it's okay, pine needle will collect the pollutions. So we put pine needles, everything.
So you had quite a good correlation.
Yes, yes, good correlations. And the pine needle start breathing in spring, and it will continue in a 3 or 2 or 3 years. It accumulates the pollution like this, but after 6 months, after breathing the new leaves, the trend was like this. Average trend.
髪の目なんだ
dioxin contamination, the new leaf
高知なん
and
で
increase.
クアラルンプールはもう全然もう気候
But
が違う
after
ので
6 months, it became average. So if you use pine needle as a monitor,
あ、クアラルンプールですか
they can be selected or sampled after 6 months, not new.
間違ってたら困るのでまた調べて
1-year-old pine needle leaf is the best one. New leaves are not suitable for samples. This is the basic data that Professor Miyata was researched in his university.
Which university?
Setsunan Daigak in
Osaka.
Osaka. He retired, but he's the authority of the pine needle monitoring
Oh,
system.
really?
And this is the microscope graph of pine needles. They breathe, as you know, the micro photograph of pine needle stoma. They breathing like human beings. And this stoma collects the dioxins together with the ambient air, and they accumulate in the pine needles. They have a very fat part inside the pine needles. They accumulate
Oh, I see.
as a process of photosynthesis.
Yeah, going back to the one you talked about
Yes.
inside that.
And we start pine needle monitoring all over Japan from north to south, more than 1,000 areas.
Wow.
Before we start this, I gave a lecture to the citizens. What's the main procedure of the pine needle monitoring? What's the basic scientific characteristics or the features of this method? I teach them for 1 hour or more, and we start collecting the pine needles. This is a central stack. If you want to see the stack effects or impact, they collect the pine needles like this, very small area. And the purpose of our investigation, if we want to know the area-wide average, we select the pine needles like this, scattered area of some cities. The purpose is very important. If we target this stack, we select the small area, and the average area-wide, we select these pine needles. Like this, the pine needle is 1.2 meters high is enough. for the breathing height. And all this citizen participation, children and senior citizens collect the pine needles from each gardens or parks and send it to our institute. And I just weighed the pine needles and make the one sample for each municipality or each target area. This is a sample, 100 grams for each area. And this sample goes to this, like this process here. And this sample goes to Canadian lab and analyze the dioxins here.
How much did it cost for one test?
10 million.
So we can do it in Malaysia.
100,000 yen.
3,000 ringgit. Around 3,000.
Very expensive.
It's very expensive.
大体今1リングが32円ぐらい円安になったので、前は30円で1リングが32円。
So to analyze less than 1 picogram is a very slightly delicate process to analyze, and it is necessary to use this kind of machines, very expensive machine, and the procedure before analyzing this machine is very complicated, so high technology is necessary, so it's very expensive. These are the procedure that Professor Miyata was developed, and all the same procedure was sent to Canada, and the process was the same. Because we had to compare the result, the process should be the same. This is the Kanagawa prefecture, and these are the pine needle sampling area.
Next to Tokyo.
Next to Tokyo. Tokyo is here.
Yokohama.
Yokohama is here. Kawasaki is here. And this is the first time that the citizens find out which area is most polluted by dioxins, the red part. This area is industrial waste incineration plant, is very dense area. This area is Bay Area. Some of the plants were only burning plastic waste. It's very severely polluted. Here is Miura City, no incineration plant.
So, wow.
But dioxin is coming because they put the pesticides for the vegetables. Some byproducts of pesticide is also dioxins. So the Miura city has slightly found the dioxins, but completely different from these areas. These are from incineration plant origin dioxins, but a pesticide origin dioxins. Difference. And this is the Kanto area, Greater Tokyo metropolitan area, 3,000 万だから 30 million population, more than 30 million population here, Tokyo, Kanagawa, Chiba, Saitama. And this is all done by citizen participation. This is Asahi Evening News.
Asahi Shimbun.
Asahi Shimbun.
Yes.
The evening edition.
Science page. The colored map of dioxin concentration level.
Written by Benjamin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chiba area here is very polluted because of the
Yamamoto-san.
industrial
Different
area,
one.
industrial pollution, industrial incineration plant here, waste from Tokyo, and this is Tokorozawa, waste from Tokyo to northern area, and this is Hachioji and Sagamihara. This is also the industrial incineration plant, dense area. This is a plastic incineration area. So this is very easy to understand citizens.
After this article was published,
Yes.
any response or any feedback coming from the people?
So
from
people
the
find
government?
out, our cities are very polluted.
Yeah.
So we have to do something to change this situation. And they go to municipality government or directly to the incineration plant operator and push them to change the system. And they slightly changed
After this,
after this.
wow.
Because they didn't know
It's
exactly.
important to find out, oh, our city is polluted than the other cities, neighbors. Because because the dioxin is no color, no smell, but people don't understand. This is the way that people understand the difference to the neighboring cities.
Decreasing industrial incinerators, but household incinerator not decreasing, increasing.
After that, most of the industrial incineration plant was decreased. They cannot operate more. It's very strict regulation, and people are always watching. All stuff is coming like this.
And there were many lawsuits against private sector.
This is Sendai city, northern part of Japan, and these are also citizen participatory monitoring. And this shows near incineration plant is higher than the area wide. And this is a mountain area was very polluted by the incineration plant of industrial waste. This goes to the lawsuit case, and after that, finally this incineration was stopped incineration caused by the pine needle poison, paid by the plant owner, but pine needle correction was done by citizens. And the data find out this was not good for incineration. This is the result. Near the incineration plant is higher than the area wide. This is a lawsuit case of vicinity of industrial waste incineration plant. This is the southern part, future area. 6 years continuously done by the citizens participatory monitoring. And this is the Tokyo area. We will visit this area tomorrow morning. And the southern part of Tokyo, they start monitoring before and after plastic burning. These are the correction sampling point of pine needles, this southern part of Tokyo. Look at this. Before starting incineration of plastic like this, after this, dioxin is severely worsened, badly, like this. After plastic burning, dioxin become higher than that. This is the mercury. Before starting plastic burning and after, all the area became higher.
Even in advanced type incinerator using.
So, this is the result. Look at this. The yellow part graph is the 2008, before starting incinerating the plastic waste. But 2012, all the percentage of plastic rate, mixture rate is increased. 12 to 17, 10.15 to 14, 21.50, 12 to 20. All the incineration plant became high concentration, high mixture rate of plastic. This is the reason why the dioxin is becoming bad and mercury becoming bad.
It's not only somebody illegally.
Komichi has been conducting such a citizen-based survey from a donation from citizen. This is the very important result in international academic meeting. American or English people very surprised at hearing this case.
No, because of, I think even Europe, US think that Japan has more safety measures standards.
So this is a process. They realize an awareness of citizens' waste, incineration, and environment risk. Oh, they know that it's lead and pink. Our city is lead and pink. Oh, it's bad. And they activate citizens' participation in environmental monitoring, stimulate access to the government information, check and review the waste management policies, effective community tool among citizens, powerful evidence for lawsuit cases, effective development for more efficient monitoring systems, give influence for decision making, stop incineration of industrial waste or something.
No, that's why I asked them yesterday. To me, it's like they start burning plastic 2008, and the mercury problem from 2010. Is there any indication? I asked them. It's not. But to me, it's very interesting that the
So they're monitoring ambient air and emission gas, but they just monitor once a year or 4 times a year. They cannot catch the difference. High needles accumulate the pollutions.
So it could be the plastic unit could be one of the main reasons.
Yes. And heavy load to each incineration plant. So there's many troubles, small troubles happens because the temperature is so high. Some of the troubles happens each incineration plant, too high.
But they have to keep it high.
High, but
to
maintenance
break
is
down
very
the-
difficult. Municipal solid waste is not so difficult, garbages or papers or something like that. But high temperature is difficult, not suitable for that municipal solid waste incineration plant specs original. That's not, it's not industrial waste. So the
Yeah, that's what I was told also, yes.
industrial
That
waste
shouldn't
incineration
be so
plant
high.
is originally made for
I
that.
was told, yeah.
Some metals are coming in or some plastics will be here, but the domestic are not so different, originally different source of waste. So after the result was came, we explained the result to the citizens and they understand the result. Okay, we'll change to the